Basketball.
It's time to strap in and get ready. The Insight NBA team is in the arena, bringing you the ultimate play-by-play on who's hot and who's not to help you win your leagues and dominate your mates. You're now hooping with your hosts, Matty G, Skiddy, and Malley for the Insight NBA show.
G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Insight NBA show. My God. I'm your host tonight, Skiddy IFS, and I'm joined by my man, Liv, my fantasy singlet and all. Show us the guns, mate. How are you, brother?
How are you?
Yeah, we're getting there, mate.
Yeah,
I'll say to you off stream, just
AFL,
getting nurseries and stuff set up, so how good's that? But yeah.
Nice one. Yep, ready for the... I don't know if that's going to increase your NBA viewership or whether it's going to decrease your NBA viewership. It's not a lot of NBA on at midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So, yeah. It might be interesting.
I think I might get a pretty good availability for my Russian table tennis, though. So I'll become an expert at that, which would be really nice. Yeah. Petrov and Slavikov, they're going to be my go-tos at 1 a.m. here in Australia. 100%, brother. But tonight, as always, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we do. Pimp my guys. That's the show where we stick a rocket up your players' asses on your fantasy teams to make sure that they play better. Now, granted, Malley, this is the week where there's been less games because of the NBA Cup, so a little bit skewed this week, but who cares? They need a rocket nonetheless because we do it on per game, don't we? So we don't do it overall. So it doesn't matter how many games they play. If they play shit in that game, they play shit.
That's right. And maybe that just justifies a larger rocket. You know, this is the week we needed them the most. If you can't show up when you've only got one game on, then, you know, that's just not good enough.
I'll tell you, prime TV time and you can't show out, like that's just, not it. And speaking of that, shout out to Jalen Brunson getting locked up by the Great Barrier Thief again. Oh, Dyson, bloody Daniel.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
Woo, hey, man, Bendigo's finest. But always, ladies and gentlemen, as we always say, brought to you by the Standard Squeeze. So our day ones, use promo code IFS15 to get 15% off your order. Cups and all, 4-in-1s, squeezy bottles, whatever you want. Squeezies, they do it the best. We absolutely love them. Malley, let's get stuck into a bit of Pimp My Guys. But before we do that, obviously, schedule. Schedule, very, very important, Malley. Today we had the 2 games for the Wednesday, Thursday. No, wait. Yes. No.
Yep.
How many games do we have today?
Yep.
3 tomorrow, which sucks. I thought there was more. But Friday, finally, we get 8. Saturday, we get 2. And then 7 on Sunday. We can kind of look for these little... do you more or less go for the back-to-back on, the Thursday, Friday? Or would you prioritize looking ahead to, the Thursday, Saturday and make your moves now?
I really tried to... feed 2 of my selections into these first few days because I just wanted to get off to a hot start, especially if I could just pound a guy who's only had 2 guys play and I could override that. You know, I got a Knicks guy. You know, I picked up who to pick up. Can't even remember now. Campaign. Who was a bit flat today, yeah, but he was all right the other game and he got a few threes and whatever. And I picked up Goga. So, I got my game out of him and I a bonus one on Sunday, I think, from him now that they've worked out who's playing who and what's going on there. So I'm all right with that. But, yeah, you've definitely probably, if you can get one in that quiet 2-day game day between your 7 and your 8, I think that would be pretty useful. And by then you should really know how you're going to try and bring it home. Like, is there a category that you're close enough in that you think you can pull off? Look who they've got, look who you've got. Is rebounds attainable if you're 2 behind, or is it just worth throwing in the bin because, you're up against Jokic, so you've got to kind of work that as well.
I'm sick of coming up against Jokic. I'm sick of coming up against Jokic, mate. He's too fucking good. He's just too goddamn good at fantasy. It's a pain in the ass, but you bang on the money there. Quick note before we start as well. Who you got winning for the NBA Cup?
I think the Hawks are going to take it. Yeah. Yeah,
I
unless
love that.
unless Jalen Johnson, he looked a little bit sore probably midway through the game. So if he can't play, it's all over. What about you? They're talking about the highest odds going to the Bucks. The Bucks barely beat Orlando, who were running like Suggs as their number one guy. Like, how can I don't obviously understand what the bettors are looking at. Like, if you can only beat them by a handful of points, and they're basically running a G League team, like, there's no way you're going to knock off one of these decent teams. But anyway, who you got?
Hey, well, the Orlando Magic did knock off the Phoenix Suns with this lineup as well. So, they got a bit of credit going on there. The switchy defense, stingy defense is working fantastically. But, mate, I'll tell you what, I can't go past OKC. They have been unbelievable. Shea's all time. Their defense is immaculate, and they don't even have Chet Holmgren yet. So, I can't wait to see what happens later in the season, but I'll give the nod to them. I think they can beat the Rockets, but I'd love to see the Rockets win. I'd love to see the Rockets win.
Yeah, that'd be grouse. It'd be nice for them too. And then I think today they had the longest losing record of any team against an opponent against Golden State. So it was nice to see them just get up one. And as a Houston fan going way back, I can think of the playoff series that they've kind of sent us home early. So it was a little bit sweet today just seeing him get up that 1 point. And I traded Kuminga in the league this week and to try and solve my free throw woes, and he went something like 2 from 6 or something today. And then he threw the game away for him. So whether he keeps starting or not is a mystery, but I wouldn't think so. You just look at Kerr's face anytime he does anything, and Kerr's just doing his whispering to his coaches, with his fist in front of his mouth. Every time he does anything stupid, the cameraman just knows it's time to pan over and see what Stevis is doing, but because it's never good.
He pans to either Steve Kerr or Draymond Green, who's spraying him. So it's perfect. That cameraman, Rays, well done. But, ladies and gentlemen, we can't keep chit-chatting about the NBA Cup. Let's get stuck into business. Last week, Malley, for our Pit My Guys episode, Markkinen, 125th. He went up to 351st. Played one game, and it was a blowout. So, but either way, Rocket he has not received it over in Finland. So now we know that Finland is a little bit far away for the Rocket, but that's all right. We'll figure that out.
Out of range.
We'll reconfigure it and send it to the right coordinates this time. Siakam, 131st to 87th. Trae Young, 204th to 27th. Jared Allen, 223rd to 121st. Zubac, 246th to 32nd. And Amen Thompson, 324th or last week to 80th. So we've done our job. Aside from Markkinen, he can go onto the list with Kyle Kuzma, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, but he was injured. So
it's quite a squad. Right.
Still a good record we've got there. A lot of Lakers. Or former Lakers.
Yep. They're all there. So we won't read too much into that. We'll upset somebody.
Yes, we will. If you know, you know. But let's get stuck into this week, Malley, because we need to stick some rockets up some people's asses that have been underperforming this week. As we said, numbers might be a little bit skewed because of the shorter NBA Cup week, but either way, that is fine. Let's start off in Chicago. Zach LaVine on the season, he's 67th. This last week, he's been 132nd. Surprisingly, though, Malley, Zach LaVine, his points are up, his rebounds are up, his assists are up, his steals are the same, his usage is up, his threes are up massively. His field goal percentage actually hasn't taken that much of a hit, but the turnovers at 4.3. We don't know it. We don't care about the blocks. And his free throw percentage has really, really gone down. Where are you viewing Zach LaVine for this season? Because he hasn't been bad by any sense of the word.
Yeah, I just talking about guys I traded. This is a different trade, not a Kuminga trade. I also traded him out, so in another league. And it's not to say that I think that the cage is going to come crashing down anytime soon. I mean, you're looking at kind of like you're looking at Chris Middleton-esque numbers there. You know, he's besides this week where he's gone 666 repeater and he's set the line. He's been like 85 and he's been like 500 for a guy who spends his whole game shooting and driving. He's just looking nimble. He's looking fit and he's looking like he's got a little bit of a new lease on life. Like we saw the guy at the end of last season. He would just hide away from plays. Like I know DeMar was there at the time, but he just got hide in the corner, and the ball would start coming his way, and he'd like stand behind the defender. It was some wackest stuff you've ever seen. Like the dude didn't want to be involved in anything defensively, offensively, and this year he's like kind of embraced it a bit more. I don't know if he's just like figured out that he's not the star that he wants to be in the league, and that he might as well just like get on with his dirty work here. But look, the things that are dragging him down, the lack of blocks, he could snag one there, and that changes 50 ranking positions straight away. The free throw percentage, I mean, he's getting to the line, 5 or 6 times a game. So, you know, realistically in a week, he might have, in this short week, that could have been a 4 from 6 that's put him there. So I'm not too stressed about that. His free throws have been great. I think the only thing you can really worry about him is, you know, upcoming trades, what's going to happen, what's his place going to look like here. You know, he gets sulky. So, but no, I wouldn't sell him for any particular reason. I don't think we're going to need much of a rocket. What were the little bungers that you used to use at high school? Not the KO26s or whatever, not the big mothers, just the little pit pop ones.
Yeah, those little like ones that you put in the toilet and make it go pew.
Yeah, push. Yeah. Or even smaller. Or the little like pop ones that, you know, you could throw on the ground, and they were just basically a bit of gunpowder and a piece of paper.
Yeah, they're the little spark bombs.
Anyway, let's throw a couple of them at his feet, and he'll be just fine. I'm not worried about him. What about you? You got any concerns?
No, I like the week for Zach LaVine. I think it was just the turnovers are basically the main thing. His turnovers were up from, what were we looking at? So 4.3 this week, and on the season he's been 2.8. And I just see that coinciding with Kobe White not being there. So they lose another ball handler. Zach LaVine, we know he can score, but facilitating's not his super strong suit. He can get the assist, but again, it's coming with a lot of turnovers. It's just nice to see 31% usage from Zach LaVine this week. And it'd be nice if, you know, that keeps up for the people that own Zach LaVine. We just need to tidy up the percentages, piss the turnovers off, and we're laughing. We get Zach LaVine back. Hopefully, since he's in my team, hopefully I can go back to 2022, 2023 and be the 28th ranked player. That'd be great. But I don't like my chances.
For where you picked him up, you don't need him to be there. You know, if he can hit 60, you're like, well, that's all right. I'm getting my value back in a little bit on top, which is always nice.
Stuff the value. I want to win. Give me back the 30th ranked player. That'd be great. And I'm telling you, I'll tell you though, Malley, there is people that would have drafted this man quite high and waited for him to come back just to unleash mediocrity and not what he had lived up to. That is Paul George from the Philadelphia 76ers. Granted, he's injured, but he has played this week, so we want to make sure that he is full back and firing. Let's get him right back and ready for when he is completely healthy. 135th ranked this week, 77th on the season. 16.5 points from Paul George is unheard of, so we need to bump that up. 5.5 rebounds is okay, a little bit around the average. Assists at 5.5 is a very, very nice change of pace, but the steals, threes, points, and on good percentages is what we expect from Paul George. And 0.5 is not going to be getting it done when he's averaging 1.8 for the season. 0.5 blocks, which is nice. 1-3, hate that. We need to get that up. He was at 3.3 last year. Free throw percentage at 75. We expect that to come back up. Field goal at 43, which is actually better than his season average. And turnovers at 1.5, which is better. So what are we expecting from Paul George now that we've seen Embiid, Maxey, George? What are you thinking, Malley?
Yeah, I think this is a massive buy low time if you wanted to try and grab him up, because I think you could definitely sell that point. You know, we got to see him in the big 3 setup. Yeah. We know that he's not a 0.5 steals guy. This guy just seems to grab steals. That's the one thing that he's kind of always good for. You know, like the points, I'd be worried about. The free throw percentage somewhat, but it's the steals that I know they're a category that goes crazy. You know, like every year we see a different like top 5. It's never, you can't ever really pin it. You know, there's always guys that you can put inside like the top 10 or top 15. You know, like a DeJounte Murray, for example. Yeah, they're always Alex there. But and I mean, you really should put Paul George's name in that kind of. They're always going to be there somewhere list. But the thing I was worried about him is he's the last of his draft class. Like, it's kind of like he's like the only war veteran to still like who's going to march when he dies kind of thing. Like, with Gordon gone the end of last season, like, yeah, he's just kind of like a bit of a monolith out there, man. Like, he's he's not a young pup, and he's going to have to really bust ass to try and get this Philly team back into any sort of play-in, let alone playoff contention. So he'll come good. At least the two areas minus the points, but at least the steals and the free throws we've seen year after year after year of what this guy does. I'm not panicking about those. The points, a little bit more panic, but he's going to come up. What was his ranking over the last week?
135th.
Absolutely not. But even 77 for the season, I think we can get him above his weekly rank and above his season rank. I think in the coming week we might be able to look back and go, all right, here he is in the top 50, and we'll be all right with that.
Hey, mate, we've done it before, so hopefully we can do it again for Paul George this year. But the one thing I'm going to say,
drop the magic.
Yeah, exactly right. The one thing I am going to say about Paul George, and if you are targeting Paul George and you want to go for a buy low, what you bring forth is you say to the people, hey, look, if you're not comfortable with Paul George, what happened with Maxey, Embiid, and him, because he only had 16% usage when he played with Maxey and Embiid in that first game. So that's where you can be like, hey, look, he's not getting enough of the touches that he needs. And then you just do not bring up the fact that he did not get a steal. We know that Paul George is going to get him. So I reckon you bang on there, Malley. And hopefully he can get the usage at times. And that's what we need. But I've got another guy that's actually down on usage as well this week, Malley. And that's surprisingly Jordan Poole, who is down on usage. So only 23% for the Wizards when on the season, I'm pretty sure it's about 30, 28. So he's down 5% in the 3 games this week. Points are down, coincide with 19.7. Rebounds at 2.3. He's never really good at them anyway. 6 assists, which is all right, which is actually up, so that's good. But the defensive player of the year, Jordan Poole, that we started with at the start of the year, is gone. 0.7 steals, down from 1.6, and 0 blocks. And you might go, oh, Skiddy, Jordan Poole, we don't really expect him for his blocks. What happened at the start of the year? He was averaging really nice blocks at the start of the year, and now he's at zeros. So that sucks. Free throws down from 85 to 78. Field goals down from 43 to 39. Turnovers are at 3, which is actually better. And then, as I said, usage is 5 points down. Are we starting to get a little bit worried about Jordan Poole with Brogdon returning, or are we just, it'll level out?
Well, it's funny because you don't really know if him and Brogdon and Kuz coming back will help the guy. Like, he's just being asked to do so much at the moment, which realistically is very hard to keep all of your counters high and your percentages high, because it just doesn't usually work like that. It's not like you can go, well, now I have to do everything. Up goes the rebounds, the assists, the steals, the blocks, the percentages. Something's got to give. There's no perfect player out there. Otherwise, we'd find him and keep him. And this would be a pretty boring event, I guess, if there was no fluctuation. You just pick the guys who are best and hold on to them. No trades necessary. Yep. But yeah, I don't know. I think the points look like they're going to go up again. It's strange to see him getting anything less than 20 because he wants to take them all, and they're happy to let him take them all because no one else knows how to shoot. He's also played the last 2 games without Sarr, so I think it's they've had a couple of of blowouts after they gave the Denver Nuggets an absolute touch up, which must have been a punter's nightmare. There must have been people shedding tears after that one. Not you, mate.
Nah, not me, mate. I didn't bet on that one, but all the boys in the group were absolutely cursing the Nuggets for losing that game to the Wizards. And that's the game that saved Jordan Poole, because he had 39, 9 threes, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists. If that game wasn't there, he would have been horrible this week. So luckily we got that game from him. But in fairness, all the other games have been blowouts, and he's been shit. So hopefully he can turn it around. Hopefully the Wizards can do something to turn around, because they've been bloody awful at the moment. So what have they won? 3 for the year? Yeah, 3. Jesus, that is.
So why is nobody talking about that? Like, this time last year, we were already mocking Detroit.
Yeah.
And no, I haven't heard any media yarn. What are we 25 games deep now about how trash they are? How are they going for the record? What's the low? Was it 12 games or something? 12 wins? What's the lowest modern NBA record?
They had a 16-game losing streak and then beat Denver, and now they've lost to Memphis again. So I'm pretty sure they're 3-20 or something like that. So they're doing absolutely awful. No, yeah, they are 3
Yeah.
and 20. 3 and 19.
So-
So that's, shit house.
So yeah, the 2011-2012 Charlotte Bobcats were a 7 and 41 in a 48 game season. So then they beat the Philadelphia 76ers, who had a .11
That's right.
win.
That's
so
right.
the Washington Wizards have the fewest wins teams this season with 3 wins. So that's not really giving me what I want. But yeah, it's looking grim for them.
It is, and I don't see how it gets better. But that's them. Hopefully they get Cooper Flag. Let's go on to dominating DeAndre Ayton from the Blazers, ranked 175th this season. Malley on the season, this week. Season he's been 97th, so not as much as we'd like from Ayton, but in fairness, the rebounds are bloody nice. Points are at 10, which is down this week from his season average of 14.2. Rebounds are up though from 10 to 11.5, which is nice. Assists down to 0.5, which is shocking. But the steals and blocks, 1 steal, 1.5 blocks, really nice to see from Ayton. Doesn't shoot threes, who cares? Field goal, free throw percentage, he's 0 of 4 this week. So that is god awful. He's 0 of 2. My bad. I was looking at the wrong one. 0 of 2, still shithouse. Field goal percentage from a guy that's 7 foot and weighs how much Ayton does, and he's shooting under 50% is an absolute travesty. Turnovers are at 2. Usage is up, though, which is good to see, from 19 to 21. What are we liking here from Ayton? Is it just to, get the damn ball in the hoop? Are we liking everything else?
You've got 2 types of guys that we've talked about here. We've got Poole, who has a trash game, an unreal game, a trash game, an unreal game. And within a week, he can be a top 10 guy and then like a bottom 200 guy in the space of 1 week. But then you've got Ayton, who goes through cold patches where he comes storming through and he looks like, I'm sure the Suns fans are shedding a tear as he's just like spanking everybody. And then he just goes missing for weeks. And you're like, what? He's just that kind of guy. So he's the one I think on our list here who's the biggest risk of not moving anywhere or going backwards. The other thing I worry about him, if I had to pick one guy on the list to give up on, is we've got Klingon and we've got Robbie Williams in close proximity to returning to game form. So I think they're going to want to give both of those guys some minutes. And if he can't do it now, while he's been the only real center on the team, no offense to any Aussie fans in listenership. I don't know if we can class him as one of their top prospects for the future. But if you had to pick a guy for me to be least confident about or need the largest rocket, we might need to get onto Kim Jong for that one. I think we're going to have to go big.
Yeah, I agree there. But I think the main person that would need a rocket is Chauncey Billups. Stop making him shoot threes. He shot, how many threes did he shoot this week? 6 threes. He didn't hit 1. Stop making him shoot threes. He hasn't hit one since, buddy, the 7th of November. Stop making him shoot them. He can't do it. Like, he's killing the field goal.
If I was that big, I just walk in. I was watching some funny Instagram thing, a little video the other day. It was this giant guy, and he was just playing rec ball, and he just took his 3 long steps as slow as you like in and put the ball in, and no one was just ready for it. He just walked in like he was just like going to take the ball over the back line. He just kind of like popped it in. That's what he needs to do. Like, you got the strength of 10 men, mate. Like, get amongst it.
Yeah. You bloody hope so. But also, too, in this week, in fairness to Ayton, one of those games was against that Utah Jazz where they almost lost by 50. So hopefully Portland will be better than that. We'll see how they go. Also, too, it does hurt them not having a pure playmaker on their team. Like, Simons isn't, Sharp isn't, Grant isn't. Avdi is probably their best, and he doesn't play with Ayton a shitload of the time. So, yeah, that definitely hurts Ayton. Hopefully, he can bounce back, and I think he can. He's definitely got it in him, but the rebounds are at least nice. So, and keep up the defensive stats, Ayton. Now, this is the one that I wanted to bring up, and it's a weird one, right? Because it's Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is ranked 208th this week. On the season, he is 79th. And you look at his stats, right? And 19 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1 steal, 0.7 blocks. He's only down, he's down very much in threes and ups in turnovers this week. Other than that, he's pretty much hitting all of his season averages with free throws at 80%, field goal percentage at 47.9%, usage at 27, which is up as well. And you may say to me, Skiddy, how is he the 208th ranked player? Because all of these stats that you see on the screen right here that Bradley Beal is doing are not to league average. Besides points. Yeah. Points are the only thing that he is ahead on. In everything else is not up to average. So thus, when the turnovers go up and his threes go down, it's just stockpiled and made him go down the rankings. But how do you feel about Bradley Beal? And side note, what do you reckon? Would you prefer Bradley Beal in Houston or him to waive his no trade clause and get traded for Jimmy Butler and go to Miami?
I didn't go to Miami. He seemed to want to go there earlier. It kind of felt like the Phoenix end game was a bit of a B choice for him, so I hope he goes there. Now, look, this is an interesting one for me because I'm desperate to trade for him off your team. So I could either go here like, mate, tell you what, he's absolute trash. There's no chance. We don't have a rocket big enough to actually save this guy. And if I was an owner of Bradley Beal, I'd be looking for any out possible, but I'm not because I'm not that kind of guy. So what I'm going to say is I have full faith in him coming back. That 4.7 turnovers, he's going to have to do less work on the ball when KD comes back. Yeah. He's also playing with arguably one of the best assist to turnover ratio guys in the entire league. Maybe they just need to give the ball to that man more often because he's been doing a lot of shooting and you're like, no, that's not your job. We don't need you to do that. We've got 3 awesome shooters on the team. You just give us the ball and make sure it gets in our hands. But, yeah, I don't know. I think he's going to be just fine. I'd love to see him. I actually feel like when KD comes back and they get Nurk back, I think that'll be good for him. Like, he'll be able to play his role a little bit more. He's not I don't think he is a number 2 guy anymore, but he's like a very crafty number 3 guy. And yeah, I think that's probably the position. But yeah, nearly 5 turnovers when what's the league average? Probably around 2, where you're nearly doing a bit times that. It's that's going to really reef you down the rankings. So
yeah,
if you have a mate named Skiddy and he's got a guy called Bradley Beal, now would be the ultimate time to try and work an angle.
I'm telling you right now, mate, step into my office. I am definitely taking applications for Bradley Beal. I'll tell you, if his steals and blocks go down, he can piss off. He's really
I'll just pick him up off the waiver wire, right?
Nah, look, the defensive stats he's doing is nice, and he is old reliable. But it's really weird that his stats didn't really go up that much, but his usage went up from 22 to 27. So it went up 5%. Yeah. And yet he still didn't do anything else really with it. He just just turned the ball over. That's what he did.
If there's nothing enticing on my team for a trade, you can always trade into Captain loves them down the middle in old G. He loves a guy who does just enough of everything. He wants the team of everybody. No, I don't want to stand out. I just want a bloke who's going to get the job done. He can put him with Tobias Harris. He can put him with Middleton, and those guys can go and rock it.
Love that. Yeah, hey, that's all who I'll be calling if we can't get a deal done. And our last guy, someone that, oh my God, this has been probably his worst week in, I'd say, about 3 seasons, and he was pretty bad at one point. But Brook Lopez, and sorry, when I say bad, I mean he had that neck surgery and he was coming back from that, and still he wasn't as bad as this crap that we've had to put up with this week. Ranked 55 for the season, but yet this last week 327th. That is absolutely outrageous for Brook Lopez. Let me just say it like this as well, Malley. He played 31 minutes this week per game, and he averaged 5 points, 4.7 rebounds, no assists, no steals, no blocks. Mate, if you're not doing that for me, what the fuck are you doing on the court? He hit 0.7 threes when he's averaging 1.8 per game this season. His rebounds were down, and his everything was down, and it was down and down and down and down. Free throw percentage at 50, horrible. Field goal at 35. Turnovers somehow went up. what the hell? And his usage went down from 14 to 11. I just don't know what you want me to say. Besides, this has just been a shit week for Brook Lopez.
I feel like this is an AA meeting, and I'm starting to figure out that I've got a problem. But I also traded for Brook Lopez last week, so he's
You
another
are
guy.
the problem. You're the problem with Brook Lopez.
I think I might. I think maybe the good basketball lord sent me a really lost soul for me to try and put a large rocket up because he's going to take some work. I picked him up after he had 4 back-to-back games with 3 rebounds in each. And, in the team that I have, I need rebounds, and I don't really need anything else. Like, all my other counters are good, but my rebounds are really low. He never really stuffs your free throw percentage. He doesn't really stuff your field goal percentage. He gets some threes, which are nice from a big body. And when he hits them, he kind of seems to hit 3 a game, or he just misses every single one because he does those big trebuchet launches. But, I think the thing about him realistically is they seem to be pumping Bobby Portis's minutes up a little bit, but this has not affected in any way Brook Lopez's minutes. Even in that game the other day when Bobby went for something outrageous like 20 and 11 or something like that, when old mate Brook was 5 and 7 and awful percentages and no blocks or anything else. As you said, they still nearly paid him 32 minutes. He was only a few seconds shy of 32. And they'll keep him out there because he has that Wemby effect where someone goes into the paint, they see him there and they go, absolutely not. And they do a U-turn and just go back out again. It's probably a shame that people don't try it on a bit more. We need a few more dumb rookies to have a charge at him because that's where he gets his good block parties going where people are like, I'll have a go at this old man. And then he just slaps them out of there. So, yes, we talked before about the guy who had the lowest faith in recovery. This is the guy who had the highest faith in recovery. Put him down for a good 100 to 150 leap over the next week before we look at him again.
Yeah, and just to put it into perspective, he had 36 blocks in the 12 games prior to his last 3 before these absolute stinkers this week because he's done absolutely nothing this week. And don't tell me it's because of Chris Middleton because he's still getting around. He had 38 minutes, 26, 28. Yes, they are slightly down, but he's done this in about 30 minutes prior to the season. So, yep, it's just a week where he went to shit. And honestly, I couldn't give a stuff if Brook Lopez gives me 5 points, but you better give me a steal and 3 blocks. That is what I expect from you. I can even handle the fact that you don't like getting rebounds because you just box out for Giannis. That's fine. Give me a steal and 3 blocks. And stop stuffing my percentages. So I like that from you, Malley. Absolutely on the money. Let's just do a quick recap. Zach LaVine, we holding, we buying. What are we doing?
Well, I'm apparently selling, but I don't encourage anybody else to be as rash as me. I think you hold. Yes.
I'm holding as well. It's definitely not getting rid of him while Kobe White is out. I'll wait for the big game, then we piss him off. Paul George.
I feel like sell on name brand value. I think now's probably as decent a time as any. Get amongst that.
I'm buying if I can. If people are really look like in good leagues, in bad leagues, no way, because someone's going to try and still offer you someone good to get Paul George. So no thanks. Jordan Poole.
Hold. I mean, you knew what the season could be like based off last season, so you didn't. You had the lowest of hopes, and yet somehow people have already got the highest expectations 20 odd games in. I'm all right. I'm holding. This is definitely not the time to sell. People will be in panic stations that he's going back to the Jordan Poole of the previous season, but I hold on him.
Yeah, he gave us a little teasy bugger, showing of how good he can be at the start of the year. And yeah, I think this is where we kind of level off to. Probably around this, but I still think better than 151. How about DeAndre Ayton?
The Magic 8 Ball doesn't like what it sees with an up and coming. I think now's just a good time to sell on DeAndre Ayton anyway. I think he's a little bit like what's his name? Larry Markkinen, where the end is going to come sooner than we'd like for him. They've got 2 other guys, one that's just a good center and one that could be a good center, and they want to get them out amongst it. So, Yeah, I don't know how much better things get. He'll play better, but I don't think he'll have as large a role. And as you
Yeah.
said, his usage was up, and I don't think that's going to stay up. So, yeah, concerns.
Agreed. And stop shooting threes. Chauncey Billups, stop that. He cannot hit them. Bradley Beal.
Sell in very specific leagues to anyone called Matt Alley. Outside of that, definitely hold. He's, as I said before, he's a guy who does well in a structured system. He's not the number 2 guy. He's the clear number 3 guy, and that's when he rolls to his best. And we can get captain average, above average easily. That 208 won't be seen again for a while if we have anything to do with it.
I can say that too. And if he waives his no trade clause and goes to Miami, I like it. But if somehow, I don't understand how this situation would happen, but if the Phoenix Suns are able to acquire Jimmy Butler without trading Beal, Booker, and Kevin Durant, which is almost near impossible with the salary, and somehow they don't take the Warriors offer of like Kuminga and stuff like that, I'd be so surprised. But that's going to hurt the hell out of Beal if that does happen. But again, don't really see it happening, so that's fine. And Malley, give us a rocket to stick up Brook Lopez. What are we doing here?
Yeah, mate, it's going to have to be a long one because he's a long boy. But yeah, he's going to come good. If he can remember the blocks, if he remembers how to block again, if he can, it needs to be like a little trapdoor spider, mate. He needs to hang back a little bit further from the rim and entice a few of these young bugs in. And I think he's going to get back the blocks. I'm totally with you. Anything more you get from him, like, great. You don't get him for rebounds, points, assists. But yeah, a steal and 3 blocks is kind of the minimum we need from this man. And we saw that the only time he puts up offensive stats is when Lillard's not there. And he just stays out on the perimeter and seems to hit them. So
that's a good point there, Malley. Just give us the defensive stats. That's all we care about, mate. And that is what we do. And then happy days. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the ending of the show. We're going to wrap it up with telling you who the worst player this week in fantasy basketball was. And this week it was Trey Jamison from the New Orleans Pelicans. He played one game, played 3.5 minutes in that game. He had 1 rebound, 1 field goal attempt, which he missed. He had 2 free throw attempts, which he missed both of them. And that was good enough to get him the 362nd player of the week. I have been Skiddy IFS. This has been Liv_my_fantasy, better known as Malley. And we will see you next week for another episode of Pimp My Guys. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.